so up until age 20, I kind of lived in this chaotic reality where my emotions were so out of my control. And I looked around at everyone else, at my friends, and I saw that they were happy and they were enjoying life. And so I actually held the belief that some people were born with the ability to be happy, and then other people like me were just born miserable. And that was that. And I was just going to struggle through life. And so, like you said, it's a very nihilistic way to view life. It was a very sad way. It makes me sad to think back on that, because I think a lot of people feel like that. But yeah, so randomly, I decided to take a philosophy class as an art elective, and that changed my life forever. I often wonder what would have happened if I never took that class. But so I actually took 2 classes. The first one was Aristotle 101. So as you can guess, it was on Aristotle. But that was really my first introduction to realizing that instead of just accepting my thoughts and feelings as absolute reality, that I could question them and I could compare them to wisdom that I was learning and say, okay, if my situation doesn't match up with this, then maybe the world isn't against me. Maybe it's not everyone else that's awful and everything's doom and gloom, but maybe it's the way that I'm perceiving things. And so that was my first little glimpse into that. And then I loved the class so much that I took the subsequent course by the professor, and that was Hellenistic philosophy. So that's where Stoicism, Epicureanism, and Cynicism were introduced. And
yeah, I love it.
Yeah,
Sorry, go on.
Oh no, it's okay. So I think the main thing that made Stoicism stand out among all those philosophies was the whole idea of emotional control, because I didn't have control. And so that just, again, gave me a glimmer of hope that change was possible.
Yeah, I love it. And going through that, like, how long did it take you to kind of rid yourself of those kind of negative thought patterns that were really, ailing you?
It took about 6 years.
Yeah.
Because I kid you not, I wish I could make a movie or some way to describe how I felt, because like, I'll give you a silly example of something I used to get really angry about. It was like an automatic rage. And again, it's embarrassing to talk about this, but when I would go jogging in the mornings, and if I would wave good morning to someone and they didn't respond, I became livid. And I think, how dare they not say hello to me? That's so rude. And all these negative thoughts and these beliefs would pour into my mind. And so I actually, through that process, I developed a methodology of questioning my beliefs and then choosing a different response. And so with that particular example, I would acknowledge that I was feeling anger because this person didn't say hello to me. And then my underlying belief was that they were rude and disrespectful and all of that. But then I didn't want to be angry. So I said, okay, what wisdom would help me change my response to be more positive? And at first I started telling myself stories like, oh, maybe they didn't see you. Maybe that's why they didn't wave back to you. But I was kind of lying to myself. The truth of it was, I don't have a right to control whether someone wants to say hi to me or not. Right? I don't want to be controlled by someone else. I want to have the freedom to do what I want. So by getting angry when someone doesn't conform to my ideal of right behavior, quote unquote, right behavior, that's a form of me trying to control them. And so I used the dichotomy of control to calm myself down. And I continued doing that every time I experienced anger, until one day I realized that I couldn't remember the last time I felt anger. It had probably been about 30 days. And that's when I knew that methodology was working. And so I started tackling everything, whether it was my tendency to gossip about other people or complain about things, all these things that caused me to experience my negative thoughts and emotions.